Well, Steve White, Trek Boy 89 for Steve Arts 89. Well, Netflix has dumped all 20 episodes of Season 2 of Star Trek Prodigy all at once, and no one really knows what to do with it. They didn't do it in separate episodes. They didn't separate it into half seasons. They've just dumped it all in one go. And some people have done reviews of the first couple episodes. I'm going to do a review of the whole season. Now, I haven't seen every episode. I haven't seen every scene of every episode, but I've seen enough to know what happens for the season. I've seen the start and the end and in between. And I'm not happy with how things went. Now, the first season was okay. The characters were well written, they were likeable, but the overall premise of the series was ridiculous. Basically, it was more of a Star Wars series than Star Trek. You basically had a ragtag group of rebel kids alien kids who find this Starfleet ship, and they managed to pilot it with just the help of a Janeway hologram, and they're basically on the run from slavery and this evil empire with this Darth Vader-like character who just happens to be the parent of one of the kids, and they eventually save the day. They end up going back to Earth, and it looked like the second season was going to be better. It looked like they were going to have these kids progress to be Starfleet Academy cadets and have them on a Starfleet ship and be more like a traditional Star Trek series. And that's how the first couple of episodes go. But even though Janeway trusts them by letting them know, over her own, crew members, that they are on a secret mission from, the basically corrupted Federation at this point that is hiding things and doing terrible things in this era. And they have to work out what this time anomaly is that's been created by the protostar's destruction, and they have to rescue Chakotay. But she's hiding this ship because the Federation hides things because they're basically like the military in this universe. They find the ship, they break in, they of course accidentally launch it, and they are on autopilot, and they end up going into the anomaly, and they basically end up having to save the day, basically just with no adults, which is this infantilized sort of child fantasy of basically running the world and running a ship and having this sort of adventure without any adults. It's not really believable for anyone of any intelligence, adult or child. And they basically just revert back to the formula of the first season, where it's basically just this. They counter these creatures called Weavers. They find Chakotay. They work out how they have to resolve the time loop. They basically encounter adult time-traveling Wesley Crusher, who tells them how to fix everything and how they are the future and they have to stay together, they have to be together. They end up sending back the protostar the right way this time so the loop doesn't happen, and they beam aboard the Voyager A, which was launched in the first episode, along with the Doctor, who really was just there to be a taxi for them, doesn't really do much from what I saw. And then they get back to the Federation. Basically, the Federation is collapsing because this is the J.J. Abrams Prime Universe Federation, where the Romulan Star Empire has collapsed because their homeworld was destroyed by a supernova, and they're basically all immigrants who are being discriminated against by Starfleet because it's racist. And apparently in this universe, Data didn't win in his court case and didn't have the right to choose, and he was basically studied and turned into a race of synthetic humans, which they basically use as slaves to do all the grunt work. So when this species, these synths, turn on the Federation and abandon them, not only do they destroy half the fleet, but they also leave all these positions empty and the fleet can't function. So they have to shut down Starfleet, shut down exploration, and basically turn the Federation into a military operation that is just protecting Earth from these two threats they cause by their racism and discrimination and slavery. This is not the Federation Gene Roddenberry created. The Federation he created was this safe beacon of hope that, that where everyone was treated equally, where there was no poverty or discrimination, and we could go into the future, and just explore, and it was great. And that was the future that inspired a whole generation and made Star Trek into a phenomenon. The idea of this world that we could go to that was better and had, this future technology and all this great culture and freedom. And they've just basically turned it into a pale, imitation of today's American government, and they projected all our current problems, contemporary problems, onto Starfleet and thereby Star Trek in the future, and basically ruined it. And I think this is all done because at the end of the episode, Janeway basically promotes all the kids to ensigns and puts them on a Protostar class ship and sends them off to go do first contact and go explore and seek out strange new worlds and do what Starfleet can't do anymore. So it's like they destroyed the whole of Starfleet and thereby Star Trek just to put these kids on this one ship to do what Starfleet was supposed to do. I don't see what the point of that was. At least in Discovery, when they destroyed the whole of the Federation and had it basically shut down for 120 years, they had Michael Burnham show up and save everyone and put everything back on track, and we saw the Federation being rebuilt in the 31st century, so at least there was hope that it may have been shut down for a while, but it still lived and went on. But this, they're just shutting it all down. It's like in the JJ films where we just have a basic Earth-based action adventure or a, Planet Canadian backlot adventure after they destroy the Enterprise in the third film, and at the end of each film they basically say, in the next film we'll boldly go, and then they never do, and fool me once, fool me twice, fool me 3 times, no fourth film. So they're basically just repeating that mistake. They're basically dismantling and deconstructing and destroying the Federation and thereby Starfleet, where instead of being in this wonderful future, we're just like stuck in all the contemporary problems, like nothing was fixed, and we had the same problems with the Federation of the future that we have with Earth today, and the American government particularly today. So it's not going to inspire a generation of children to become Star Trek fans. It's not going to, this new Trek and these new shows are not going to continue the phenomena that Star Trek was, because they're not giving us a future to believe in that is actually something that people want to escape to or want to invest in and read extended universe stories and manuals and stuff like that to really invest in that and believe in that future and have that as a dream and a hope. Instead, they're just getting this small, cynical little story of everything falling apart just like today, like we can't progress, like nothing has gotten any better, and that it's just a matter of people sort of rebelling against all of this and sort of doing what Starfleet and what Star Trek did originally in the other universe. And it's just sort of a projection of some minority people who look at themselves that way in the patriarchy and the government that is now, and they're just projecting that and making themselves those people and making Starfleet into that and Star Trek into that. It's just a smaller, insular story, and it's not inspiring and it's not Star Trek, and I really don't like it, and I'm really surprised that they actually did that. I'm really surprised that they basically dismantled everything, destroyed everything. Even if they thought they had a third season to fix it, just doing it and having it that way, and I didn't think they would have fixed everything at the end anyway. I think they still would have had this, Starfleet that's basically the enemy, something to fight against and fight from within, as opposed to something that actually is a home that we all can, have protection in and a future in. So, I'm just really disappointed by this, and it's just more of the same with what they're doing with New Trek, and they just don't get what Star Trek was, what made it work, what made it special, and what made generations of fans just embrace it as a phenomena and imagine it as a future. Instead, it's just a mess. I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. This was supposed to be a very short sort of review commentary on just the show, but I needed a bit of a rant. I needed to talk about this because Star Trek means a lot to me, and I really hate the way they've taken Gene Roddenberry's vision and they've just torn it apart, and they've just ruined it for people who haven't seen it, and made it difficult for people who have, because it's hard to watch the original Star Trek, even though it is set in a different universe, knowing what they did in the other Prime universe, and how it's just so hard to disconnect from that to enjoy Star Trek now, and I can't really watch it and enjoy it anymore. So, I'm going to go. I don't know if I'm actually going to sit down and watch every episode and watch it properly. I've seen enough of each episode to know what happens, and it's just the same long form storytelling where we just have our couple of MacGuffins and our main sort of goal, and if that's not particularly engaging, it's not really interesting, because each episode is just another chapter of the same story. So even that format, running against the original anthology version of Star Trek, where you got a new adventure every week and a new story, and it just, everything is wrong with it. Nothing works. I mean, aside from likable characters and good animation, even as a Star Wars series, it wouldn't be great, but as a Star Trek series, it's just a moderate abomination. But I'm really going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you thought of the season if you watched the whole thing, because I think some people are trying to space it out. Other people are trying to get through the whole thing in one go. I don't know. I'm just seeing a few reviews of just the first episodes or a couple of the whole, but a couple of them are actually deleted. So CBS is not happy with something. I'm not sure because I didn't get to see those reviews. I hope there's nothing that gets this one deleted. But yeah, we'll see. I'm going to try and do a short review just to go over some of the basic points. But yep, I feel a little better. But no, it's still really sad and disappointing what they've done to the Star Trek universe.